It's been a fiery opening to the year, with Keir Starmer now entrenched in a political crisis over the Oldham grooming gang scandal. While the Labour leader basks in his holiday, the backlash shows no signs of slowing, with outrage erupting from all corners: Tory MPs, social media magnates like Elon Musk, and the public alike. Starmer's past decisions as Director of Public Prosecutions, DPP, have come under brutal scrutiny, with critics demanding accountability for what they see as failures to act decisively when it mattered most. The anger is palpable, visceral, and unrelenting. This isn't some fringe outrage. This is a national reckoning. The horrific crimes committed by grooming gangs in Oldham, many of which were ignored or downplayed for years, have ripped open deep wounds in the public's trust in those tasked with delivering justice. Starmer, who led the Crown Prosecution Service during a pivotal time, has become the lightning rod for this fury. His refusal to address the issue head-on, instead opting for carefully worded deflections, has only fueled the fire. Critics have accused him of prioritizing optics over action, leaving victims and their families to feel abandoned once again. The scandal caught fresh momentum after GB News reported that the government had rejected calls for a Home Office-led inquiry into historic child abuse in Oldham. Shadow Safeguarding Minister Jess Phillips poured gasoline on the flames when she dismissed the need for such an inquiry, suggesting it was a matter for local councils to address. This response has been widely condemned as tone-deaf and evasive, with many accusing her of deliberately shirking responsibility. It's the kind of response that stinks of political cowardice, and the public isn't buying it. Elon Musk has taken things to another level, using his platform on X to launch a scathing attack on Starmer's tenure as DPP. Musk has accused Starmer of turning a blind eye to the exploitation of vulnerable young girls, claiming that his perceived inaction allowed predators to continue their reign of terror unchecked. Musk hasn't held back, calling for far-right activist Tommy Robinson to be released while demanding Jess Phillips face imprisonment for her alleged inaction. While Musk's rhetoric is incendiary, it's striking a chord with a public disillusioned by years of political excuses and failures. The billionaire's intervention has added a new layer of intensity to the calls for accountability, dragging this scandal into the international spotlight. Tory MP Kim Bardino has also waded into the controversy, demanding a national inquiry into child exploitation. She's made it clear that 2025 must be the year when justice is finally delivered for victims. Nigel Farage, never one to miss an opportunity to weigh in, has pointed out that the Conservative Party is far from blameless in this debacle. Successive Tory governments have failed to adequately address the issue, proving that this is not merely a Labour problem, it's a systemic failure that spans the entire political spectrum. Yet, despite this, it's Starmer who finds himself squarely in the firing line. As DPP, Starmer oversaw key reforms aimed at improving how child sex abuse cases were handled. But critics argue these reforms were too little, too late. Musk's relentless posts have cast a harsh light on Starmer's role during this period, painting a damning picture of complacency and neglect. Labour's attempts to counter this narrative have fallen flat. A party spokesperson highlighted Labour's support for the 2022 national inquiry into child sexual abuse and independent reviews in areas like Telford, Rotherham, and Greater Manchester. But this has done little to quell the anger. The perception remains that Labour, under Starmer's leadership, lacks the moral backbone to confront its own failures. The refusal to back a public inquiry into Oldham, citing logistical and jurisdictional hurdles, has only hardened this perception. Victims and their advocates see it as yet another betrayal by a political class more concerned with saving face than seeking justice. The public mood is unforgiving. A recent YouGov poll shows that only 12% of respondents believe Labour has handled this issue competently. Words like incompetent and dishonest dominate the conversation when people are asked about their views on the party. This is a catastrophic blow for Starmer, who is struggling to position himself as a credible alternative to the Conservatives. The Oldham grooming gang scandal isn't just a challenge for Labour, it's a brutal test for the entire political establishment. Victims and their families deserve more than hollow words and political posturing. They deserve meaningful action, accountability, and justice. Starmer's unwillingness to commit to a full inquiry in Oldham doesn't just undermine his leadership, it raises serious questions about his fitness to lead the nation. If Labour continues to prioritise damage control over genuine reform, it risks being consumed by a tidal wave of public outrage. Starmer can hope this storm will pass, but the reality is clear: victims and their advocates won't let this issue fade into the background. The calls for accountability are growing louder by the day. Labour, and Starmer in particular, face a stark choice: take meaningful action now or face irreparable damage to their credibility. The public is watching, and they won't accept anything less than justice. Meanwhile, in a separate but equally troubling case, a former primary school headteacher, Nicola Brogan, has dodged a teaching ban despite being found guilty of making derogatory and abusive remarks about staff, pupils, and a parent. Brogan, who led Woodland Community Primary School in Greater Manchester, referred to students as fat slugs and wimps, made homophobic remarks about a staff member, and joked about having sex with an Ofsted inspector for a better school rating. Despite these shocking revelations, a disciplinary panel decided not to impose a prohibition order, citing her prior good service and potential to contribute to the education profession in the future. The decision has sparked outrage, with many questioning how someone with such a pattern of misconduct can be allowed to continue working in education. It's yet another example of a system that seems to prioritize protecting reputations over holding individuals accountable. What do you think about these issues? Let me know in the comments below. And don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel for more updates. Thanks for your support. Let's keep growing this community. Stay tuned and take care.